Paranormal fans, welcome back to another episode of Black Cat Crossing podcast. We hope you had a wonderful week and looking forward to an even better one this week, which I am really hoping to look better for this week.
I was thinking, I was like, man, like it better be a better week.
Definitely.
Yes,
Definitely.
This week has kind of kicked our butts.
All
it kind of
it.
has.
All over the place, every single day.
I'm still over here yawning. Oh my goodness. It's only like going on 8 o'clock. I should not be ready for bed.
Yeah.
Right.
No, once 9 o'clock hits, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out.
And they said adulting was fun. You could stay up all night if you want.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to stay up all night.
I regret every nap that I never took.
Yep.
I'm just waiting to hear Sully snore.
Yeah, I probably will. Oh my gosh, I hope I don't.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, well, it's hopefully we don't hear Sully snoring. We shouldn't be that boring this week.
I hope we're never that boring.
I hope so too. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. On a lighter note, I have to tell you guys something freaking hilarious what happened today. So we were in the car. We stopped by at Chick-fil-A before heading to the store, and we were at the stoplight, and like my daughter goes, and my daughter's 6, so she goes, "Wow, look at that line!" And we're all like at the stoplight, and they're like, the cars are turning, and my husband's like, "Yeah, what if we start going?" And she's like, "Do it." And he's like, "What if we get hit?" And she's like, and he was just like, "Yeah, this is the reason why you don't get your driver's license." She's like, and then he's just like, maybe you could take Miss Puff's boating class. And then wait, so he said boating, okay? She goes, boning class?
Oh my god.
I'm literally done laughing. And my husband's like, wait, what's so funny? And I'm like, Serenity, what did you just say again? And she's just like, boning class. What is boning class? And my husband's just like, what the?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
And he's like, no, boating. And she's like, oh, boating. I thought you said boning class. And she kept saying it, I was dying. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
It was hilarious. I was choking on my French fries. My husband's just like looking straight ahead, like, what the? I was
That's
like,
so funny.
I had the worst stomach pain after that. I'm like, I have to tell you guys because that was just hilarious.
I can just picture your husband's face.
Yes.
He's just like, what the hell did I get myself into?
It was freaking hilarious. I just love it because she has no clue what she just said. She's just like, boning class? What? I was just like, huh? But yeah, that was my little tidbit today. I was just like, oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Yeah. It's not like choking on French fries because you're laughing so freaking hilarious.
Oh
But yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, I can't wait to tell her when she's like a teenager with her like first boyfriend.
And now you've just told everybody.
Right? I'm gonna be that mother that she's just like, I will never take anybody near you ever again. Yeah, I should start like carrying baby pictures around. Just to embarrass her. But so last week was nuts. Oh my goodness. Last week was hilarious. Wait, it wasn't even last week. Was it last week?
It was 2 weeks ago, I think.
It was 2 weeks ago.
Was it 2 weeks ago? I don't even know.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago.
Was it?
Oh my goodness.
Okay, I don't even know.
Me either.
I'm sorry, you guys, but this time has flown by these last few weeks.
This summer has just been insane.
Yeah.
This last week alone has felt like 2 weeks.
Yes.
The never-ending week.
Right? Oh my goodness. But 2 weeks ago, we found some interesting, very, very interesting. How would you say that?
Yeah, right. Like, I don't even want to call it an EVP because I don't even know if that's what it was. It was just like something really weird that none of us heard while we were recording, but kind of picked up when I was listening back.
Yeah, when we were editing.
I think this was for the episode of Hotel del Coronado.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if
Like
you
that.
guys heard it last week, you might have picked it up. I know you would have picked up the second one, but the first one, you kind of needed to really listen to pick it up. We'd have to put a clip in.
Yes, because my editing skills are not that good that I know how to play it right now. That you guys could hear it besides just me.
Yes. But it was when I was talking, and I think it was when I was doing the intro.
It was.
So, I forgot what it said.
It
I'm like,
sounded, help me. That's what it sounded. It sounded like a little kid saying, help me.
How has your guys' week been? How has your guys' week been? How has your guys' week been? How has your guys' week been?
Because I thought for sure when I was editing it that it was your daughter. And I was like, that's so weird because I don't remember her coming in and like very definitely didn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was having a text message from you that night was like the creepiest freaking thing ever. You're just like, hey, was your daughter in the room, by the way? I'm like, no, she was sleeping.
Well, and it was even creepier because of everything that happened prior to that.
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes, that was weird. Like everything just tied in together.
Yes, the door opening by itself and having a lot of technical issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was something. I think it was, I don't know. Maybe I forget her name. The young lady from Hotel.
Megan?
Oh my God, guys, we're terrible.
Yeah.
We are terrible.
Kate Morgan? Is it Kate Morgan?
I was close. I said Morgan. I think it was Kate. I think it was Kate
Morgan.
Yeah.
And then we find out it's never been Kate. Oh my gosh. Kate Morgan. Yes, you guys are good. Yeah, I think she just didn't want her story told that night.
Yeah.
She was making it known.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting in the dark for some reason. I don't know why.
I'm also sitting in the dark.
I have a lamp on.
I don't even have a lamp on.
Okay, so what was the second weird thing?
Oh my goodness. So this one was weird.
Excuse me.
I think it was Jump Us. I think that's what it was.
Either that or like maybe something in another language. I don't know. But it kind of sounds like Jump Us.
Yeah, I know it had jump in it. Because that's like it came out so freaking clear. It was not even funny.
Right, but I think her soul is just tied to that property. Right, but I think her soul is just tied to that property. Right, but I think her soul is just tied to that property. Right, but I think her soul is just tied to that property.
But the weirdest thing is when Parson was saying, when Z was saying that she heard something at a specific point, I wasn't hearing it, and I kept telling her I wasn't hearing it, and she's like, but I hear it on Spotify. I'm like, well, I'm on Dropbox, I don't hear it. So I went on Spotify and I heard it. So we just discovered that it's on every platform except for in our Google Drive.
Right. And so like I thought you were crazy, and I was like, it has to be there. She's just not listening in the right spot. So like I went in and I tried to find it. I was like, okay, why is that not there? Because it's clear as day on like the editing software, on even if I just play back the raw footage, like it's there.
Yeah.
It's just not in the drive. Super weird.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I remember Z mentioning it, and I listened twice, but I could not pick up anything for that particular point.
See, that like is so weird to me, because like I was just listening to it at work while I was like doing my paperwork. So I wasn't even like listening for anything in particular. I really wasn't even paying that much attention. And like I heard it and it scared the crap out of me, because it was just like so much louder than the rest of the.
Yes. It was so much louder than the rest.
So like the fact that you don't hear it solely is like super
creepy.
Weird.
Yeah. I even had my daughter listen with me as well. We both listened, and we couldn't get it. But maybe that one wasn't meant for me to have. Maybe that one wasn't meant.
I don't know.
That just gives me more creepy vibes.
Yeah.
Right. And because then when I was like editing, because this was like, it was a super hard episode to edit, because there was so much that like I had to cut out just for time. And it came down to like just cutting out anything that had to do with like any of the weirdness that we were experiencing
that night. And the thing is, I think you didn't even edit that night. You had to postpone it to the next day because of all the wetness happening that night.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell them what happened prior to the recording, and what happened with me during, because I think we cut all of that out, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay. So I record in my bedroom, and I always let everybody know I'm about to record, so I always keep the door closed. So I'm sitting in the middle of my bed. I was sitting in the middle of the bed, the laptop is right in front of me, and I'm all chatting away with the ladies. And just before we started recording, my door just swings open, and my door it has the turn knob. So it's not like it can just, and catch by itself or anything. So the door swings open, and I'm leaning forward to see who is there, if it was one of the children. And there was literally no one there. But then I also had the door to my balcony open as well. So I told the ladies what happened, Z and Barry. And we jokingly said, well, I wonder if it was coming in or out. But I think Z, or was it you, Carla, who said, well, I'm hoping that it was actually leaving or something.
I don't remember.
Z was like, Z was just like, yeah, I hope it was leaving.
Yeah, because it's something so random. That's not something that normally happens,
You're right.
And the fact that the kids were not even there, the door you actually heard the click for the lock be opening. Not the lock, because it wasn't locked, but the catch.
Yeah.
It actually clicked open. So I'm turning, I'm saying like, it's just so weird that the kids would just open the door like that. And there was nobody there. The children didn't even know about what was happening. And it's not like, yeah, I don't even know. It was just so weird. It was just so weird.
Well, and then the fact that the balcony door opened too, like, it definitely couldn't have been one of the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm wondering if something came in through the balcony door, but I immediately shut the door after. So maybe I trapped it in with us. And maybe that's why we were having so many problems that night.
Oh my god.
So whilst I was doing the recording, I listened to Z went first that time. She did the first reading, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And every time she would just we're all in the meeting and we would just drop. I was hosting that time too. So I would not hesitate at all. Like the call would just drop and then it would pick up again and she would have read several lines. So I thought it was something that we were all experiencing, but it was something that only I was experiencing. And the ladies never even knew that was going on.
Yeah.
Except when it came to the point where I had to start reading my part and I'm reading away. I'm reading away and I'm hearing Z saying, Soli, are you there? And I'm like, what? That it says it's reconnecting. It was just horrible, the technical issues that we had that night. And I explained and I told them everything that I was experiencing in terms of technical errors. And they both said that they didn't even notice that I was off. I was offline.
Right. And like I was honestly expecting that whenever I went to like play it all back, that there would be nothing there because you were hosting. So
Yeah.
if you weren't there, then like how was it still
right
there?
That's what I thought was yes.
Exactly.
I figured that it would have cut off or something, but it recorded all of your part, Z. It didn't even cut off the times that I think I maybe had 3 or 4 clippings, not clippings. There were like 3 or 4 times when you were just not there. It just wasn't. I wasn't connected at all. So that was creepy.
Yeah.
Definitely a weird night.
Yeah, it was a very freaking weird night. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So what other that now this is what makes this a little bit special is that it's something that we all experienced together.
Right.
And the fact that we're all in different parts of the two of you are in the US, but different parts of the world. I mean, there's so much distance, among all of us, and for that to happen,
right?
Yep,
it was definitely crazy.
It is. But it also makes me curious. I mean, we've discussed it amongst ourselves, some of it, not all of it, like just the little weird happenings, our own personal experiences. So we thought this time around we would be sharing some of our experiences with you guys.
And I'm like super excited.
Yeah.
So what had our first experience to make to like to become a believer, instead of being like, oh, it's just our imagination, or like playing it off. And this time it's like, oh crap, it's real, it's all real.
Yes.
Well, mine, I can't really remember how old I was. I think I was like 9 or 10. And I think it was probably, I kind of want to say it was like a couple years after my grandma died, and I've never seen her before. I've seen her when I was like little, like before I was like 3, but after that, she lives in the Philippines, so I never went back home. But so she died when I was probably 7 or 8 or something like that. But what was really scary was one day I was in my room, and I think I was like on my bed and stuff, and I thought she was my mom at first. Like, you know how like sometimes you see someone come into your room or something in the room and you don't really look up to them. You just keep doing what you're doing, and you don't really like acknowledge, you know, like you don't
Acknowledge
really look
them.
up. Yeah. You're just like, oh, okay, it's, you know. Well, that's what I did. I think I was like playing with something, and I thought it was my mom. And like, she comes in and she stands, like, I had a mirror by my bed, and I think I was like by the bed, and she just walks by the mirror, and she was talking to me. She kind of sounded like my mom, but you know, you're a kid and you don't really notice that stuff. You're just like, oh, whatever. And she was talking to me. She's like, you know, I don't really remember the whole conversation, but she told me to go grab something. And so I was like, okay, fine, whatever. And I was still playing. I didn't want to like go anywhere, but I went up, I went to go. And at the end of, so it would be my room. The next room would be the living room down the hallway. And then through the, like, it would be like the living room and dining area type thing. And then through a door, we changed the garage into my mom's store. And so, you know, it's a walk. Like you wouldn't be able to pass me to get to one place to another without me seeing you or bumping into me. And I went into my mom's store, and she's right there sewing.
Wow.
And I was just like, wait, Mom, weren't you just in my room? And I was so confused. And I was like, wait, hold on. And my mom's like, no, I've been here all morning. Why? And I was like, and I told her, I was like, Mom, you were in my room, you were talking to me, and you told me to go get something. And she looked at me like I was nuts. And I'm like, she looked exactly like you. And like, and it was funny because my mom is actually a spitting image of my grandma. And she's like, oh, your grandma just came to visit you. And I'm like, tell her to stop it. I don't like that. And yeah, so after that, I was like, okay, great, I see dead people. I'm like, crap.
Like, is your mom, I think she had a really good reaction, but do you think, like, was she jokingly telling you that
No,
she came to visit, or she genuinely believed it?
Yeah, she genuinely, because
Your mom's big into the paranormal though, right?
yes, my mom, she is very big on the paranormal. And so I actually dreamt of my grandma passing away. It was like, I've never seen this woman. All right, I've like, and I was dreaming one night, and it was a lady in a rocking chair. And I don't know, I felt that sensation where I'm like, I know you, but I don't know you. But you know, it's a dream, so you're like, and she kept like putting her hand out, and I kept trying to grab it, and she kept like, you know, going further and further away. So I kept like trying to get to her, and she kept like talking to me, but I couldn't understand. And I woke up and I told my mom, I was like, I had a very weird dream. I'm like, there was this old lady in a rocking chair. She looked like you, but she wasn't you. And she kept trying to talk to me and trying to grab me, but I couldn't grab her, and blah, blah, blah. And her face just dropped. Like, you just like, you know, like my mom, like, she's always smiling, and then her face just like dropped, and then she like went to the phone and she's calling everyone, and she's like in a panic. And I didn't really understand, like, I was like 6 or 7. I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And like, then a few hours later, they actually found my grandma in a rocking chair, passed away on the porch.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, that was yeah. And my mom told me that your grandma passed away last night, and I was like, but she was in my dream. And she's like, yeah. She tried to explain it to me when I was young, and I was just like, oh, that's great. That's just great. I was just like, I didn't really understand. I was like, okay. And then she started like visiting me, and like, yeah. And then I was like, great, I see dead people. Like, crap. I'm just like, yeah. I'm just glad that she, like, I haven't seen her, like, I've seen her a few times, and after the last few, I was like, I'm not doing this. I just walked out of the room, like, I'm not doing this. But yeah,
I would as well.
It's like, it's really cool. Like, I never felt scared, but it's also at that fact of like, when I was little, seeing someone that is not supposed to be there, and it kind of gives you the creeps after a while. So and I don't know, it was like nice, like it was kind of weird at first, but like after a few times, like I've never like my grandma never visited me anymore, but like those few times it was like, yeah, after that I totally believed in the paranormal, and I started getting scared of it. It's kind of weird when you're like little, like you have your imagination, and then when something actually happens, you're like, oh, freaking hell. Like, I wish it was just my imagination.
I think it's easier too, I guess, because you had other persons as well who believed in it.
Yes.
So it made it easier for you to accept it.
Yes. Yeah, and at least I've had my scare my scary ghosts and my hauntings and stuff like that, and my house is haunted like hell, but
The house you're in currently, or you?
Oh, that yeah. This house has a few
questionable.
Oh, yes. And actually, you know what? We should have talked a little about that because of what we found in the recording, and it kind of gives me some clarification of what, like, and it's kind of like gives me more of a creepy vibe now. So I don't know if we should do another episode or I should just do it now because it's been kind of long. But this house is very questionable. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Enjoying what you've heard so far? Be sure you never miss an episode by following us. Thank you for your support. Now back to the show.
Well, for me, I have, when I was younger, I always had this fascination with scary stuff. Like, it was so bad. Although my mother didn't like it, she would still get the books for me when I harassed her for it. And there was this one book in particular, I can't even remember the name. I lent it out, and you know how that goes. And she used to tell me to turn it over before I go to sleep. Turn it over so the cover doesn't show. But I can't say that I can remember having any experiences as a child. I would say my first real memory of having experienced anything that was remotely paranormal, and I didn't even think of it as that because, like I said, I never really believed it. Was well, I have to give the little back setting. So I used to work at a boutique, and I used to work night shift up until 9 o'clock. So I wouldn't get home to my home until like maybe 10:30, and that is because it was so far away. And then my mom's house at the time, she lives on the hill, the last house on a hill, and there are literally yeah. I know, right?
House on the hill.
You know, have you guys seen Pet Cemetery?
Yes.
Do you know that trail, how it looked with the trail and the fog coming over it, etc.?
Yes.
Like at night, that is exactly how my mom's trail up to her house looks on a full moon night. It is creepy as hell. So
Oh,
so literally we
Sounds
have
more
to,
like a horror movie.
it is scary. So we have this very long trail to walk through. And it's completely dark because there are no power lights up. So I had this, my boyfriend was at the time was in England. He lived in England. And so he'd keep me company. I needed somebody to talk to, whilst I was walking up, because like I said, it's very dark and it's a long way home. So he has my number. Should anything happen to me on the way up, he has my mom's number. He would call them, if anything should happen. So we're talking, and on halfway to the way up to my mom's house, there was this pond that had been covered in because it used to overflow into the trail and make it impassable. But anyway, so they covered it, they filled it in. But I noticed, and I know this is my companion to walk up with every single night. So it's not like I had my phone wasn't fully charged or anything like that. And it wasn't even a smartphone. It was just one, I think it was just like one of those flip phones, like the Motorola flip phones. So we're talking.
You're aging yourself here, Sully.
Everybody will pretend they didn't hear that. So I'm on the phone, and every single night that I had to walk up and he was speaking to me on the phone, it would just go off completely. The call would not just drop. My phone would literally turn itself off at the pond, just before the pond actually. And there's no way I'm going to cross the pond. Everywhere I'm in complete darkness, right? The only light that was coming through was from my phone, which I had up to my ear. So I have to stop at this point and turn on the phone and wait for it to come on. But every single night it would turn off exactly there. And he would tell me, I've been trying to call you. What happened? And it scared him a lot of times. And the thing is, I had nobody else to come to meet me. My brother was like so much younger than me, so there's no way he can come down to come and meet me to come home. But it happened quite a lot. And I still, at the time, I never thought of it as anything much until other things started happening. And that time I didn't have my son yet. I just had my daughter, and she was quite young. But I didn't experience anything other than that for a very long time, until eventually I stopped working night shifts. So I was not affected by that at all. I didn't have any reason for me to be out very late. So I guess I forgot about it. But then other things started happening after I had my son, actually, this time. That's like quite a few years after, right? Because my daughter, maybe 3-4 years after. Oh my gosh, I had so many experiences with that. But I will say the one that stood out the most for me and made me really believe that something was actually happening. My daughter and my mom experienced it before, and I didn't fully believe them until the same exact thing happened to me. So I'll just say my experience and not this, so you can get an idea. It was a class reunion. It was about 2 a.m. after I'm walking home. I was just I had a bad knee at the time, I took a really bad fall and I injured my knee, and I was only just starting to walk much better, but I still had a very heavy limp. Then I'm walking all the way home. I'm walking by myself. I'm grown. I need somebody to walk up with me all of a sudden. And I get to the same point that my mom was telling me about. And again, I'm not thinking of anything. That time we do have a few street lights, but it stops up to a certain point because literally this lady lives so far away on top of the hill. The lamppost got only up to a certain point and you have to walk the rest of the way in darkness. But so the street lamp is to the back of me, behind me. And I've already gotten way past the point where the light reaches, right? So I can still see the lamp, but it's so far away from me, and I'm encased in darkness. So I turn the corner for me to go home, and I heard a really loud cough directly next to my right ear. It was literally like somebody came up to my ear and started coughing right next to my head.
Oh my God.
Ladies, every single last thing I had in my hands stayed right there on the ground. My sleepers stayed right there on the ground. And I cut it up to get to my mom's house. I ran so fast. I didn't even remember that my knee was bad. I just wanted to be home, and as soon as I get home, I'm just pounding on the door because I left my bag with the keys, everything at the bottom of that hill, and I'm just pounding on the door for them to open up for me, and everybody's coming out because it's 2 a.m. and they're pounding on the door, and I'm crying and I'm scared. Oh my God, it was horrible. I got everything else the next day because it's such a remote place. But this is literally the same thing that happened to my mom when she was with my daughter one night coming up. And she said to me that somebody coughed in her ear, and she thought at first it was a friend, but when she turned to look around, there was literally no one else there. And the two of them my daughter came home running and crying. And I just didn't think. I thought my mom played a prank on her until it actually happened to me as well.
Oh wow.
That is freaking scary. Oh my goodness.
So, yeah. And from that time, I didn't go out as much as at night, or I didn't go out by myself as much as at night. And that's when I really started to believe that things are happening, were happening there. But like I said, I do have more experiences that I did not just on my own. I had with my son as well. But that's for another time.
Yes.
Solely that story makes me rethink I'm totally sleeping on the beach when I come visit you.
It's different. We totally can. It'll be different.
Yeah, right. Then one of us would just disappear in the middle of the night.
I'll be like, this is how horror movies start.
Exactly.
Yeah, but later on we found out that there were quite a few people who were killed on the hill, like who hung themselves, especially by the pond area.
What the fuck?
Yes, that's what we learned after that there were a lot of
not sleeping in the woods at
I am not going camping anytime soon over there.
Oh, I wouldn't advise it.
Oh my God, that just makes it a whole lot worse.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we're not sleeping in a hammock.
100% no. I'm not even doing it, and I'm from there.
That was like my plan. I couldn't wait to sleep on a hammock
on the beach. We can do the beach. We can do the beach.
I don't know.
Just nowhere inland.
Just nowhere inland. Oh no. Oh God.
Yeah.
That's just horrible.
That's super weird.
It is. It was really scary. I'm not gonna lie.
That would have scared me too.
Yeah.
And the fact
Oh.
that your mom and your daughter also experienced it at a different
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, they did like I don't know, maybe it was a couple of, because my mom didn't live at the house at the time, so she used to come up like maybe once a month because she was taking care of my grandma who was sick at the time. So every once in a while she would come up. So it wasn't even to say like it was earlier that week or something. It literally was maybe almost 3 or up to a month since my mom told me about it. So it literally wasn't something that was on my mind until
It happened.
that happened. Yes. And I was like, oh shit, no way. No way.
Yeah, I loved how you dropped everything.
Even your slippers, like you ran out of your slippers.
Yeah. I didn't feel my knee until the next day. Like I didn't realize I messed it up until the next. I literally ran so fast. I never remembered I had a bad knee.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Oh god.
It was creepy. It was. And I'm glad I'm not living up there.
I'm glad you're not living up there either.
Yeah, me too.
You couldn't pay me to live there.
Yeah, if you did, we would not be visiting.
Oh my
I would
gosh.
definitely be staying in a hotel.
Yup.
I'll be like, guys, it'll be fun. You can bring out cameras and go exploring.
Nope.
And then you have, and they will never heard from again.
Right? Yup, that would be yes.
Oh my gosh. So Z, what's your experience?
So, the one that stands out the most in my mind that like sealed for me that there was definitely things that happened that like I couldn't explain was when my brother, sister, and I were younger. We used to stay at my grandma's house like every weekend. We were always there. And at the time, she lived in a duplex. So she lived on one side and my aunt lived on the other side. And then my aunt's husband had like knocked a wall out between the two houses so that you could go from one to the other without going out the front door.
Mm-hmm.
And so my aunt was kind of a big scaredy cat. So if her husband wasn't home, she would sleep over at my grandma's house. So her husband was a truck driver, so sometimes he wasn't home on the weekends. So we were all staying there, and on my grandma's side there was her bedroom and then my cousin's bedroom. And when my aunt's husband wasn't home, my grandma's bedroom had 2 beds in it, so she would sleep in my grandma's bedroom with her on the other bed. So when the kids would stay the night, we would all be sleeping in my grandma's bedroom in the big bed. So for whatever reason, my aunt was sleeping in the big bed with us, and it was me, my aunt, my brother, my sister, and my cousin, and then my grandma and my other cousin were sleeping in my grandma's bed. Sounds like the fucking Waltons.
You gotta be like shit.
It was very redneck. But anyway, my aunt and I had been having, I don't know, I guess it was a dream that there was all of this light coming from down the hallway. Like the bed was directly across from the door, so you could see straight down the hallway if you were laying in the bed. And there was all of this light in the hallway, like super bright light, like pure white light. And then coming down the hallway was this shadow man wearing like a top hat.
Wow.
And like a duster trench coat kind of thing. And the louder we would scream, the closer he would get to us. We were both screaming in our sleep, and like my cousin was shaking us, trying to get us to wake up, and we would not wake up. Never saw the man's face, but he got so close to us before we both finally like snapped out of it and woke up.
That's crazy.
Crazy. Mm-hmm.
And ever since then, like I've firmly been a believer in the paranormal.
That is so crazy. But did anybody else experience like anything after that?
Oh yeah, there was all kinds of crazy stuff that happened in that house.
So did you ever investigate? Like what could have possibly, like when you got older, like what could have possibly made that these things happen?
No, I've never really looked into that house. Like they weren't there for very long.
That's scary.
I think they only lived there a few years before they sold it and bought a new house.
Yeah, I would have sold it too.
But like all kinds of weird stuff would happen in that house. The way they had a TV that would just like randomly turn on in the middle of the night.
Oh, fuck that.
I want no part of any. I don't know that I could live in a horror house, not a horror house, a haunted house, unless it's like a friendly ghost.
So my grandma and my aunt were real big into like the Ouija board and stuff too. So we were always on the Ouija board. So I'm sure that just exacerbated.
Yeah.
The whole situation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's why you don't mess with those.
Yes.
That's why I don't even mess with it in game.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was my defining paranormal moment.
Yeah. That's no. Yeah, I think I would start taking sleeping pills if that ever happened to me.
And it's like weird too because like I mean we definitely continued staying the night there. Like it's not, something that discouraged us from going back. It's just something that happened, and I mean and I think that just like goes to show too, like there was already so much weird stuff that was happening there that it was just kind of like, okay, yeah, so this happens too.
Oh my
yeah.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. This was nice just talking about it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Oh my goodness. We have to do this more often.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Especially our recent paranormal, like what's been happening and stuff like that. So
yeah. I think for me, what I spoke about earlier was only my second experience since starting the podcast that anything remotely not normal, paranormal happened. So I don't know if maybe because we've decided to venture into this, it's happening, or maybe I'm just noticing it a little bit more.
So I was at work the other day and I'm like sitting in my office and I'm doing my paperwork and I'm the only person in my store. And I hear something like, it sounded like something fell over. I'm like, what the hell was that? So I get up and I'm walking around and there is nothing laying anywhere. And I'm like, okay, that was really weird. Like I distinctly heard something fall.
That actually reminds me, like I've been hearing things falling like the past month.
Whoa.
And I can't find anything.
I did find what fell, but it was so weird. Like I don't see how it fell. So my very last cooler it's like there's 4 shelves in it. It's kind of just like a big refrigerator cooler type of cooler. And on the very top shelf, we have a bunch of like microwavable sandwiches that people can buy.
Mm-hmm. And
one of them had fallen off the top shelf and landed in the bottom of the cooler by the milk. And
wow.
I don't see how it could have done that because the way the shelf is, it's so close to the door.
Yeah.
And it's a sliding door, so it's not even like it could pop open and allow it to fall and then shut itself.
That's creepy.
Yeah, so I have no idea how it happened, but I was just like, okay, that was really weird.
Yeah. Actually, that reminds me, like, I think it was a few weeks ago when we were laying in bed. All right, we were like, me and the hubby was already laying in bed. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning. We heard something fall, like big crash. Yeah, big crash. We couldn't find anything. We looked in all of the kids' rooms. We looked downstairs. We looked everywhere. We couldn't find anything. The next morning, my daughter wakes up and she's like, Mom, my big picture frame fell. And we're like, no, it didn't. When? Like, I didn't hear anything. And she's like, yeah, it fell. So I went over and literally it was in the middle of her room, broken. I don't know how it even fell. Like, only half of and the weirdest thing is only half of the frame fell. The other half was still on the wall.
Wow.
And I was like, how the hell did this even get here? Because we even checked the kids' room. And I was like telling Paul, I was like, maybe this is what we heard, but why is it only half of it's on the floor and the other half is still on the wall? And he's like, it wasn't there. And I was like, I know. And he's like, this is what happens when you guys start talking about crap. So, weird crap starting to happen. Now we're all haunted. I'm like, we're just talking about history. I talk about history. I don't have haunted crap happening.
Oh my god, so funny.
Always says the same thing. I'm always like, it's mostly just history, and then we talk about like the paranormal stuff that's supposedly attached to it.
Right? It's still history. Yeah, Paul. It's funny because hubby is he's a history teacher, and he talks about history all the time. And he's like, I talk about history, and I don't get haunted.
Not talking about the right kind of history, then.
As of I'm gonna say that we talk about a different type of history,
right? Right.
He does American history, right?
Yeah, he does American history.
You should steal his syllabus and we'll like do the haunted history version of his history class.
You would be so mad. The kids would be like, this isn't on the test.
You'll have to listen to my wife's podcast to get that information.
Oh god.
Oh god. But yeah, no, that was like, yeah, that was creepy as heck like a couple weeks ago. And this house has been getting like creepier and creepier since we started the podcast. Well, even before, but like now it's starting to creep me out a little bit more.
I guess we'll have to do like, oh, I was gonna say that. Do a cleanse or something.
We're like the same person tonight, Sully.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my god.
So, but this guy, the same English guy I was with, at the time I used to walk home, he used to always say, like, when we lived together, he used to, whenever we moved into a new apartment, he would walk through and burn like frankincense and stuff. I can't remember what else. Yeah, I can't remember if it was. He says just to cleanse the house and get rid of whatever negative energies that was attached to the space, or like, you know, yeah. So, but I heard that you need to know how to do it, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, no, you need to know how to do it, or you just make everything so much worse.
Just make it worse.
That's how horror movies start. Oh god.
Oh gosh. So we watched I think House on Haunted Hill,
The new one.
remake. Yes. The remake.
Yeah, that was interesting.
It was.
It was good. I liked it.
Yes.
I did. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I liked how they mixed it up from the old version and then put in some new mixes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love that they kept like the original relationship between Price and his wife,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and then just added in this whole new plot twist too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess
it's-
they modernized it a lot, but it was good.
I think it was definitely one of the better remakes,
yeah.
especially from the time period that it's from.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I liked how they made Price's wife more evil.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I like that they gave the backstory, like who he was, and
Yeah.
you know, the type of person. He was like a big prankster.
Yeah.
So it kind of sets you up to think that everything is just, you know, a big prank,
Like,
but it
yeah.
wasn't. It just,
And I actually like that in this version of the movie, the house is actually like haunted or possessed,
Yeah.
whereas in the
Yeah.
other one, it wasn't.
It was just a house with very creepy what caregivers.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are they called again? Yeah.
And I love the fact that like Ali Larter and Chris Kattan were in this movie together.
Yes.
It made the 90s nostalgia very real for me.
I have no idea who they were. I have no idea who they were. You're such a movie buff.
She is. Oh my goodness. Z can tell, like, she can tell you like who's the actors and actresses, and I'm just like, huh? Okay, let's
Yeah.
just watch it. Sure. Sounds good.
We're like starting the movie and the credits are going. And I'm like, oh, Ali Larter's in this. I completely forgot about that. And they're just like, okay. And then I'm like, Chris Kattan too? Like, is this gonna be a funny movie?
And we're no clue. Like, who are these people?
Well, I love how
Sorry, not to cut off.
No.
The Chris guy, that's the guy who led them to the house, right?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Pritchard.
As you said, the funny movie, because he normally is in comedy.
He normally isn't.
Is
Oh,
Is.
I was like, yeah, because he got to start on SNL, I believe. That's where he started.
I love how you say SNL and just Sully's like, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
me
okay.
forgetting that America isn't everywhere.
It's okay because I was like, SNL? Wait, what? It took me quite a while to figure out what that was, and then
Yep.
but yeah, no, that movie was actually kind of cool.
Yes, and I would definitely recommend it.
Yes,
It was one of the few remakes that are as good as the original.
yes, yes.
Definitely.
So I think, is that everything?
I think so. I think that is our week.
Mm-hmm. It's up to us. We can continue to talk forever, but I don't.
Yeah, I think we can always continue to talk forever.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this week on Black Cat Crossing. We've enjoyed having you here with us while we discussed our own personal experiences. If you have an experience of your own that you would like to share, you can drop us an email at blackcatpodcastzabs, that's zabs@gmail.com. You can visit our website, www.blackcatcrossing.co. You can find us on Instagram at Black Cat Crossing Podcast, on Twitter at BlackCatCrossy2, or head over and follow the Facebook page, Black Cat Crossing Podcast. We'll see you again
In the unknown.